Good day, dear participants of Georgia Youth Business Cup 2019. So, as the first stage of the cup is nearing its end, and this is the last day that you can input your commands, we're naturally going to look into the ratings and see what wonders we will find today. But naturally, jokes aside, it's quite understandable that today is the last day when you can literally do something in order to end up in top 30. This is when, as mentioned yesterday, that yesterday was the last day for buying stuff, all the goods possibly, and today all we have to do is maximize the sales of the goods that you have, as well as maximize the profitability. So I would recommend canceling all the unnecessary orders or expenses and focusing on increasing possibly the sales of the goods that you already have. Those that you didn't buy, well, that means you can't sell them because they will arrive simply too late. Now, today is definitely for those, I think for those at top 10 or top 15, probably they're pretty much safe with their position. But naturally, those who are still trying to get into the top 30 in order to be able to participate in the finals, this is the last day when you can do it. Now, regarding the finals, these will be happening on the 30th of September, which means on Monday. The time for registration will be 9 to 9:15, so you have to be there in exact time. The exact time and timeline will be given together with the final ratings of stage 1 tomorrow morning, so have to double check those. The finals will be, as I understand, that will be one-day event, which means you will be accessing the SimFormer Business Simulation, the intensive version, which recalculations will be happening once every hour. The environment overall will be smaller. There are less goods, less countries, and definitely less time to make the decisions and input them. You will have access, to be more specific, the 30th finalist that will be proceeding to stage 2, or the final stage, will have access to a specific demo game that is run exactly on intensive version of the business simulation, where you will have a chance to try it out. Surely the conditions for the final stage will be slightly different, and what kind of conditions you will have, well, you will see on the day of the game. Now, these are the essential things I want you to know right off the start, and before we continue to the rating. So once again, be ready to check out the rating. If you're pretty much stable about your specific, position in the rating, that's great. For those who want to get in there in order to participate in the finals, this is your last time chance. This is your time for the last push, and hopefully you will succeed. And naturally, once again, tomorrow morning, the final rating will be up, and as well as the access will be given to those who will be proceeding to finals in order to try out the intensive simulation before Monday game. Now, let's jump into the ratings and let's check it out. How do they look like at, today? So, here we are in the LMS, we go into the simulation and we definitely want to see the ratings. And here we are. So, Cyrienoza is still leading, definitely quite a lot. Impressive revenue. The profit per turn is also at the moment pretty clearly the highest, so I would say that's the clearest leader. And given the asset value of their company, these, how much profit they managed to generate with only that much of asset value of the company, that looks impressive. Cholokava there, right behind the Cyrienoza, looks impressive, looks really good, pretty stable with their revenue as well as profit per turn. The second most profitable company as far as we can see. They look really great, and well, as we can see, market is back to top 3, looking great as well here. Maybe not that great revenue all in all, but profit per turn is also growing, so they look good. And overall, they're also got their, well, you could say, rightly claimed location in the ratings. But I'm afraid they're not there for a long time, or unless, of course, they will do what they need to do today, because as we can see, Travel Buddy and SS Corporation, they're pretty close behind. Their revenue is more impressive and their profitability is bigger. Just that cumulative profit is not that big, but they're not, well, they're not that short if we're looking overall. We'll take a look at those guys and see what they can do. As we can see, company, well, 809 Limited dropped down quite dramatically. And we can see that the overall top 10 is pretty much stable, but there are some changes because GBT fell down. We can see S4S is stable there in top 10. Ekagi Holding, I believe, raised slightly. And also we can see that 75 and 9 Limited, as well as 494 is also up there. So there is a certain change. It's difficult to predict how the top ratings will look like after today. But let's take a look at the companies and their structure and what exactly there was a change, let's say, in the leaders. Now, once again, the reason I'm showing you the leaders is that it gives you an opportunity to really take a look and see what exactly is their well, key to success, right? What exactly they're doing, why exactly are they doing it differently. So we see a lot of business units once again. Maybe the overall situation did change a little bit. I believe they did decrease the overall number of business units. You have to take in consideration also the fact that you have certain limits, and I think this is exactly what happened. That Citanosa, they reached the certain limit of their abilities, let's say, or their qualification. That's where you get check and top manager qualification, the topic we spoke about yesterday. So naturally, we can see that they're trying not to concentrate their whole business in one place, or in other words, you can either go through the quantity of business units, or in other words, you can try and focus on developing the value of the single business unit a little bit more. So efficiency within the business unit that can maximize its profitability given the environment. So we can see that a lot of movement still going on, and the sheer size is quite impressive, and naturally their overall performance is top-notch, which is great. I believe this is a really great result. Maybe diminishing that or closing down certain business unit wasn't exactly the best choice. I think they could have solved that issue one way or the other, but still, they're doing great. Cholokava staying quite close behind, and we can see the auto repair shop business is going quite well. We also see kindergartens, which is also a really good business line, a couple of restaurants, and the store set. So we can see that a lot of stores in different countries, which allows to avoid any, well, huge overload or huge workload on the office if you differentiate or simply divide various business units in order to avoid a huge amount of employees and thus unnecessary expenses or difficulties managing them. On the other hand, if you have the whole business line concentrated in one country, you have to be aware that you don't have that much freedom, but simply to open up a very big office, because you still need a business unit that has tremendous administrative power. On the other hand, you also need to take into consideration, if we compare simulation to real world experience, is that the overall qualification of top management also needs to be taken into consideration. So that's what qualification as a game mechanics does, and what it's exactly for. Well, it's difficult to, as I mentioned once again, it's not just important to have huge business line, it has to be properly tuned up. And the fact that this company is in second place is quite obvious that they're doing it well. On the other hand, this amount of goods, they require a lot of time, energy to, well, manage. So identifying what works and what doesn't is also important, especially given the fact that you'll be proceeding to stage 2 game, where even though there is a smaller amount of products, but the amount of time to manage them will be smaller as well. There we go. eMarket finally came back to the third place, top 3, and we can see they're also diversifying their business line. We can see that we have new subdivision in Munich as well, but I guess that's slightly too late now. But we also can see that they're trying out some auto repair shops at this point, which is also a good choice, but maybe slightly too late, because now what we have to do is really focus on the retail at this point. So this is what they do have well developed, and hopefully I do hope they did hear the suggestion to try out different, not only industries, but as well as different countries. So diversification of business is always quite recommended, because if, let's say, there is a certain mistake of lack of suppliers in retail, at that moment, before you stabilize all the problems, other business lines in other industries, right, other subsidiaries can help you still generate a certain cash income, and at this point avoid big losses. So once again, diversification is always good, just that you have to be aware how to manage them, and you have to get a right feel how the management should be done. Right, Travel Buddy. So once again, Travel Buddy is someone who's in place 4 and is really looking good compared to eMarket once again. So they're pretty competitive. And if we go back to Travel Buddy, you can see that they have a huge set of stores with not that big of a product line, but still highly specialized, big amount of stores, very big amount of stores. All right, that's I could say that's quite impressive, and I can see that those stores, 10,000 square meters, are also here. So these are the big ones. So they can generate a pretty decent amount of goods. Now, the question is, do they use the trade area efficiently? That's a different question. But once again, regarding their results, I could say I could have a guess that they're doing it well. All right. And the 5th place at the moment is SS Corporation. Now, as we can see, these guys have some service industry business units as auto repair shops and the medical centers, and as well as, well, overall, this is probably the smallest business structure to this day given in top 5. Well, yes, exactly, but their revenue and profit looks amazing in my opinion. So this is a good way to generate a pretty decent level of income with a relatively speaking small business unit count. Oh, that's not a big company. I mean, if we compare it to these guys, definitely smaller, smaller. Not even comparing. So this is interesting. A very good use of their present business units, I believe. Because as corporation, they do look great. I mean, this is this is a good example that even though you don't have a tremendous amount of business units under your control, still can quite efficiently manage to generate a very decent revenue and profit at the same time. So this means that the profitability has been counted properly, the profit margins have been set properly, and all the business units generate a very good amount of sales. Because technically they can receive, well, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, basically 9 business units that generate them direct income from retail, trade, and services, and some naturally manufacturing facilities that would allow them to generate some income, but given the chances and possibilities, and especially if we compare them to their competitors, they look impressive, because this means this is more business setup, and they're spending more time on the quality of their decisions rather than just scaling up without going a little bit much into details to a certain extent. So I think this is really great, a great example how one can do business not necessarily in a huge company. This is relatively. All right, so now as we go a little bit down, we can see the last top 15 guys, and I think as we can see, some of these are relatively pouring in money into their expenses, I believe, in order, my guess is, to buy necessary goods in order to sell them. Well, I hope, and we can see a very literally huge expenses in company Lin. Now they're pretty stable there, so we'll see how that goes for them for the last turn. And hopefully they will be able to sell the things they have gained, because I can see a huge growth in asset value of the company. So hopefully everything works out for them. And naturally we'll see how it goes for Picasso Boys as well. If you remember, they were pretty high at some point, so they're back to their profit-making ways. And we can see that they already have a pretty decent setup here. Hopefully everything will be stabilizing here, and they will be able to sell all those goods they bought previously. So also the others as well. So we can see some expenses, which means are buying goods and trying to sell them. And naturally we can ignore the demo as well. Also, please be so kind to jump into your LMS and double check if in the setup you have your correct phone number input, especially for those who will be in top 30, because definitely we will need an opportunity to give you a call, and well, simply to get the approval from you that you're participating. If no, then someone else will take your place down the list. So I hope you will join us on Monday game. So once again, please go into your account and just be sure. Let's go over this over details. So if you go into your account, this is where it is, right? This is where it is. This is what you need to, let's say, to change the account. Go into your profile, and just as you go into edit profile, be sure to either input the phone number in descriptions, or also go into optionals. Double check if your mobile phone or phone number is here. This is where you input them during the registration, so double check if this is the correct number here, because if we can't get approval from you, well, that'll be an issue. All right, so leave the number here, and otherwise we'll also leave the instructions for your approval, because you can then also send us an email if necessary, but definitely we will be arranging the phone calls further on. So please be sure that you have the correct number, the correct phone number available for us to use in order to call you, and double check on your participation in the finals. Now, it's once again, it was a pleasure to go over the results, to see a really great performance, and I would like to say thank you to everyone who participated. I will be looking forward to see the top 30 participants in Tbilisi on Monday, next Monday. That means on 30th of September. But for those who didn't manage to qualify, well, it's a pity, but I hope you will do let's say you will do better next time, and hopefully I will see you next year. So thank you and good luck.